students. Today we're going to start our unit on poetry. I'm going to start by reading you a book about poems, and we're going to try out writing some poetry together. So here we go. Poems are a lot like music. When you read a poem, you can hear its rhythm. In music, instruments or voices make the rhythm and keep the beat. But in poetry, rhythm is made by words. And actually, when you write a poem, it's very easy to turn it into music. Same sounds. When words rhyme, they end with the same sound. Sometimes poets use rhyme to make their poems sound more musical. Rhymes can make poems easier to remember, too. Notice the rhyming words at the end of the lines in William Allingham's poem, Four Ducks on a Pond. Four ducks on a pond, a grass bank beyond, a blue sky of spring, white clouds on the wing. And you'll notice I also have some letters here. This is how you label a rhyme scheme. So for example, if you look at the last word of each line, the word pond, we're going to look for words that rhyme with pond. So the first line of a poem, the last word is always labeled as A. Sorry. So then we look at the next line, beyond. If that rhymes with the first line, A, then we also label that as A. Then we look at the next line, a blue sky of spring, white clouds on the wing. So spring does not rhyme with pond, so we're going to start a new letter, B. So that's a B. And the next line, white clouds on the wing, wing does not rhyme with pond, so it's not A, but it does rhyme with spring, so it's also considered B. So the rhyme scheme for this poem is AABB, as the first two lines rhyme and the third and fourth lines rhyme. Rhyming lines. A plan for a poem's rhyming lines is called its rhyme scheme. In Four Ducks on a Pond, lines 1 and 2 rhyme. So do lines 3 and 4. In other poems, the first line might rhyme with the third line. Can you figure out the rhyme scheme in Windy Nights by Robert Louis Stevenson? And I kind of helped you out by underlining them a little bit. Whenever the moon and stars are set. Now remember, we always label the first line as A because that's our first rhyming word. Then we look at the next line. Whenever the wind is high, high does not rhyme with set, so that becomes B. It's not A. All night long in the dark and wet, wet does not rhyme with high, but it rhymes with set, which is A, so third line is also an A. And the last line, a man goes riding by. By doesn't rhyme with wet or set, it rhymes with high, so it would be a B line. So the rhyme scheme in this poem is ABAB, as opposed to the last one that was AABB. Strong words. When we speak, we say some words or syllables more strongly than others. Accented and unaccented syllables help make rhythm. Listen for the rhythm in this line from Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary. You can kind of feel the beat a little bit too. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary. So it kind of has that rhythm to it because of the syllables that have an accent on them or have a little bit more stress or emphasis. So that creates a rhythm or a beat. Poetic feet. In poetry, a group of accented and unaccented syllables is called a foot. An iamb is a foot that has one short syllable and one long syllable. So it kind of goes ba-bum. Joyce Kilmer's Trees uses the ba-bum rhythm 4 times in each line. I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. You can kind of hear it. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Finding rhyme in sonnets. Sonnets are poems with 14 lines. Each line of a sonnet uses the ba-bum rhythm 5 times. Count the 5 feet in the lines from The World is Too Much with Us by William Wordsworth. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Their sea that bears her bosom to the moon. The winds that will be howling at all hours. And I kind of highlighted the stressed words in red here. And you can feel that ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum rhythm. The next time you read a poem, listen for its rhythm and its rhyme. You might even want to clap along to the beat. And here we have our famous poet, Elizabeth Barrett Browning. She was a British poet. Elizabeth Barrett Browning was born in 1806. Many of her poems are about love, God, or politics. Listen for the rhyme and rhythm in these lines from Sonnet 43. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee with a love I seem to lose. With my lost saints, I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. So it kind of has that ba-bum sound to it. And if we look at the rhyme scheme, the first line of the poem here, or the stanza of the poem, is lose. So that would be A. Breath does not rhyme with lose, so that's going to be a B. Choose rhymes with lose, so that would be an A as well. And death rhymes with breath, which is a B, so that is also a B. So the rhyme scheme here is A, B, A, B. All right, so this activity is write me a poem, and I want you to just try this out for fun. It says write a 4-line poem about your favorite color. Make the last word in lines 1 and 3 rhyme, and the last lines in 2 and 4 should rhyme too. Now read your poem out loud, and can you hear the rhythm? So the rhyme scheme should be A, B, A, B. All right. I kind of showed you, it's not as easy to write a poem as you would think, because I know 4 lines doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're trying to rhyme, sometimes that could be tricky. So I'm going to show you kind of my process for how I wrote a poem about my favorite color, purple. So first what I did is I wrote down things that are purple because I figured I want to create images in my reader's mind of the color purple. So I thought it would be a good idea for them to picture things that are the color purple. So one way you could start out is pick your favorite color, or any color if you want, and brainstorm some things that are that same color. So I thought of grapes can be purple, eggplant, lilacs, lavender, hyacinth, plum, violets, amethyst, popsicles, like a grape popsicle. Then I tried to think of words that rhymed with a lot of these, but these are kind of tricky to rhyme with. Grapes, oops, did that. Grapes, it was kind of hard to think of words that rhymed with grapes, like capes, apes, and that doesn't necessarily relate to what I want to communicate about purple. Doesn't really have much to do with apes or capes, unless it's maybe a purple cape. But anyway, I was able to think of, I really like the word amethyst because it's a gem that's purple, which I think is really pretty. So I was thinking of amethyst. Fist was a word that rhymes with amethyst. And that got me thinking about maybe like a fistful of flowers like violets and hyacinth, lilacs, which I love the smell of, and they're a beautiful purple as well. Also, a juicy plum I thought would be really good sensory image for my readers. I wanted to put that in my poem somewhere. And plum, you can think of quite a few words that rhymed with it. What was another one? So I'll show you the poem I eventually came up with. And even though it seems like it just popped up on the paper, this actually took me probably quite a while to think of. So it didn't just pop out of my mind. So be patient with yourself when you're trying to think of good descriptions for your color, when you're trying to think of rhymes that make sense, sound right. So this is what I came up with. Delicious lilacs clenched within my fist, the eggplant with its richly deep dark skin, the glittering violet shade of amethyst, and sweet plum juice that trickles down my chin. So I thought about like eggplant. It's the skin that's a really beautiful purple, a real dark purple, which is my favorite shade of purple. So when I thought of the word skin, I was like, oh, well, that's an easy word to figure out rhymes for. And eventually I thought of chin, and I was like, well, juice drips down your chin, and that's where I could put in something about the plum. And I tried to use descriptive words that really helped my reader see things that were purple. Okay, and my rhyme scheme, the first word is A, fist. Skin does not rhyme with fist, so that would be B. Amethyst rhymes with fist, so that would be A. And chin rhymes with skin, so that would also be a B. So my rhyme scheme is A-B, and it's about my favorite color, 4 lines. All right, so go ahead and give it a try. When you're done, if you want to type it up in Google Drive and share it with me, that would be wonderful. Or take a picture of what you wrote, however you want to share your poem, or bring it to our Google Meet, and that would be a lot of fun to hear. So, all right, have a great day.